Good evening, everyone. Time for Bitcoin Volume 2. I am moving my Bitcoin videos over to my Conspiracy Nation channel, so I'm going to announce on my next silver update that that's where you can find them. The reason why is a lot in the silver community are not really interested in Bitcoin. The more I've investigated it, the more I think it's a fantastic idea. But not to offend the silver people, I'm going to put these Bitcoin updates on the Conspiracy Nation channel. So let's jump back into the Bitcoin, and I'm going to have to limit these to below 15 minutes because my channel account on Conspiracy Nation is too small at this point, and I can't go above 15 minutes. So until that channel grows, I won't be able to do that. So let's jump back into Bitcoin real quick. I'm going to share with you what I've learned on my second day of investigating Bitcoin. So first thing we want to do is get the Sierra chart feed started again, which is the live feed over to Mt. Gox and the current prices trading. Then we can fire up the Sierra chart software, and it's going to run here. And we want to open intraday chart and Mt. Gox. And there's our Bitcoin prices. So we want to do F5 and set it to candlesticks, and then F6. And we'll set it to volume. And actually, I forgot F5. We want to put in all the days. And we'll get our chart. So let's do the daily. Now, a lot of the critics of Bitcoin have said that it's a Ponzi scheme and it's going to crash. Well, there's just so much to say. First of all, it can't be a Ponzi scheme. In fact, it's the polar opposite of a Ponzi scheme, because the number of Bitcoins is limited. So you're not paying off early investors with the money from later investors. There's no investors at all. Well, it just worries me. It has nothing to do with a Ponzi scheme. But anyway, if we look at the chart, you can see, let's go to our intraday period with 30 minutes. No, that doesn't take us far enough out. So we'll do chart intraday period with the 4 hours. And you can see we're falling now. We had a nice low of about 16 on the Bitcoin today. We had a high of about 25. So I really wish my Mt. Gox account was funded at this point, because I could have bought at 10, sold at 25, bought again at 16. So it's a crazy, wild market. But you can see that the Bitcoin prices have recovered significantly. So a lot of people said, well, anything that crashes from 32 down to 12 or 10 is, that's a Ponzi scheme. Well, no, that's just a real crazy, wild ride. And I want to scroll back and show you. I showed you yesterday, but I just want to remind you that we've seen these sorts of things before. The most extreme one we saw was the one that happened back around 50 cents. So I'm going to show you that. This one here is a pretty extreme one here. We go from $4 down to 2 something. So that's almost a 50% correction. But the one that we had back around 50 cents, let's get back there. I don't know why it's taking so long to scroll. It doesn't usually take this long. I guess it's because I'm in the daily. I didn't realize that. I should have been in the weekly. Anyway, this was one of them. I think this was the one. And we're just looking in percentage terms of these. So let's go out farther and get to the daily, because that's just not doing it. So actually, then that pulls it up. So you can see the bottom here that we had, or the price we ran from, was roughly 10 cents. We ran all the way to 50 cents, and then we had a crash all the way down to 12 cents. So percentage wise, this is actually a much greater crash than we already had. So you have to realize that on a percentage basis, you just have to recognize that the volume is coming in. The percentages are still not that large compared to historically. So the way I see this market is still trending higher. You can see that the base it put in, I don't have the ability to draw the trend lines on this, but the base it put in was right at the top of the last spike. So obviously, I don't know why all the bashers are bashing Bitcoin. I really honestly can't tell you why, but I don't really think they have a leg to stand on, but I don't know what their motivation is. Anyway, so I want to pull up my Bitcoin account, and I wanted to thank Da Vinci and another one of my viewers who sent me some Bitcoins. And I was going to go into Bitcoin mining on this episode, but I don't think I'm going to have time, so I wanted to jump over to my channel, and then any time that I have left, I will go into that. I'll just continue it next time. So on my channel, I've put, this is the silver channel, I've put under About Me an address for Bitcoin donation, because I've decided to, I've had a number of people on my silver channel request that I take donations. They'd like to donate to me, but I'm somewhat reluctant to accept money donations because of tax consequences and just a lot of other things. I've been uncomfortable with that. I've been comfortable with doing some ads, and I'm not a full partner yet, but I have been offered to monetize, so I've been comfortable with that, but I'm not comfortable with taking cash donations from people. But Bitcoin is not the same as cash. I don't have a problem with taking Bitcoin donations. So I've put an address here that is one that you can use. If you have Bitcoins, you can send donations to support my channel at that address. And I recognize that a lot of people don't have Bitcoins and they don't have accounts set up, so they don't have the ability to do that. But if you don't have the ability to do that, I've set up a link that uses Bitcoin Plus. And when you click on the link, what it does is it uses your CPU to generate Bitcoins for my account. So you can see that now, again, this is not GPU, this is CPU, so it's not the most efficient, of course, but it's an ability to donate. If you like the channel, you can, if you're not doing anything with your computer, basically you're donating your electricity, but part of your electric bill. Not a lot, especially if you leave your computer on all the time. It's negligible, because the GPU is a tremendous drain. You hear my fan, it kicked up just a little bit because this is CPU mining. So, and there it goes a little bit more. So that's a way you can donate to my channel without having to send money and without having me to deal with money, is in Bitcoin. So I think it's a great idea. It doesn't generate a lot, but if a lot of people did it, it would generate something. So I've provided those links on my channel, and you can use those. So again, I'm going to put the rest of my Bitcoin videos on my Conspiracy Nation channel rather than my Silver channel because of the hostile tendencies that many people in the Silver community have towards Bitcoin. So I don't want to alienate the Silver bugs, and I want to just keep covering Silver on my Silver channel. But I think there's a lot of aspects of Bitcoin that are really fantastic, and I don't think a lot of people have thought it through. So back to the price. I think that the price we're trading at now, especially after the run-up, you'll note that the run-up began roughly on the 5th of June, and it went from about 10 to 30 and then crashed. Now, this crash coincided very closely with the Chucky Schumer and company letter to Eric Holder to have them investigate Bitcoin because of the Silk Road issue, which is, in my opinion, just plain stupid, because basically you have this site, and I haven't investigated that yet because I'm not really interested in purchasing illegal items online, but apparently this website, Silk Road, allows you to buy illegal items or drugs or whatever. But again, this really has nothing to do with Bitcoin, and it's not anonymous. If you buy drugs, you've got to pick up your drugs, so that's not anonymous. Now, if you buy drugs with cash, I guess that's as anonymous as you can get, but you're still driving there and picking up your drugs. It would be the same thing, someone sending you drugs through the mail. So that's not anonymous, and it really doesn't have anything to do with Bitcoin, except for the fact that Silk Road is accepting Bitcoin. So I think most of the online community recognizes that this attack against Bitcoins, the fact that some site is using them to transact drugs, is about as legitimate as attacking the dollar bill, because people use it for drug transactions, which, by the way, apparently if you check almost every $100 bill that you see, there are trace amounts of cocaine on it. So, you know, what does that have to do with Bitcoin? Nothing. It's a currency, and if you have a currency, then people are going to use it to commit illegal acts. That has nothing to do with the value or validity of the currency. It just has to do with the fact that people are going to commit illegal acts, such as buying and selling drugs. So, again, a pretty weak attack against Bitcoin, and as I said last night, I think the value of Bitcoin going forward is going to be reflected in the price, and you can see this is quite a snapback rally. I didn't have time to get into the miners. That's what I'm going to do in my next episode, is examine the miners and show you what I've learned about how you can mine and the way you get that software and the difference between CPUs and GPUs and some of that stuff that I'm just learning myself. So I'm going to walk you through step by step of what I did, because the biggest challenge for me was actually figuring this stuff out. And I work in the networking world for a living. I'm not the most sophisticated systems guy, but I understand quite a bit, and it was difficult for me to get all the details. So I'm going to try to step by step lay them out for you of what I did, and so you can understand that, and we'll talk to you next time.